This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the morning of Monday, May 13th, 2024. I'm Alex Brown. Federal, state, and local officials will gather in Northwest Indiana this morning to mark the grand opening of the South Shore Double Track Project. The $649 million project, which is more than 8 years in the making, adds a second rail line along a 17-mile stretch between Michigan City and Gary, reducing travel time from Northwest Indiana to downtown Chicago by about 30 minutes. In addition to the new track, the project includes 4 new bridges, 8 new platforms at stations in Gary, Portage, Chesterton, Beverly Shores, and Michigan City, nearly 1,500 new parking spaces at 4 of the stations, and the closure of 21 roadway rail crossings in Michigan City. Toyota Material Handling will break ground at the end of the month on a nearly $100 million expansion at its headquarters campus in Columbus. The project involves the construction of a 295,000 square foot manufacturing facility that will be dedicated to the production of electric products in an effort to support consumer demand. The company said Friday that the investment will create 85 jobs and retain its existing 1,883 workers. City and state officials will join Toyota Material Handling executives for a groundbreaking ceremony on May 29th. Construction on the new facility is expected to be complete in 2026. Pat Knight, son of legendary Indiana University basketball coach Bob Knight, has been named head coach of Marian University's men's basketball program in Indianapolis. Knight is coming off a 10-year stint as a scout for the Indiana Pacers, working on the West Coast. He most recently ran a college program from 2011 to 2014 as head coach of Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, we'll dive into each region's unique challenges and distinct opportunities for growth. 9 regions, 1 goal. Indiana's bold future starts here. Discover more and register at ibj.com/engage.
In the wake of a Medicaid budget snafu in which a forecast missed the mark by nearly $1 billion, the Indiana Family and Social Services Administration has launched monthly Medicaid finance reports detailing expenditures, enrollment, and funding of the entitlement program.
The move comes after lawmakers mandated additional monitoring and oversight. The FSSA Office of Medicaid Policy and Planning said Friday the webpage provides transparency and information on the program. The agency noted that as of February 2024, Medicaid enrollment across all programs and delivery systems totaled just under 2 million individuals, which is 1.3% above the forecasted amount and 3.4% below enrollment in February 2023. The Indiana Capital Chronicle explored ongoing challenges with Medicaid budgets in February, focusing on the difficulties that came from predicting long-term expenses for an ever-growing fund. Budget experts suggest monthly reports as one way to better keep the public informed. The report shows just how many Hoosiers have been determined ineligible and lost coverage during an unwinding period when Medicaid programs returned to a pre-pandemic level of operations. During COVID-19, the federal government agreed to shoulder an additional percentage of costs as incentive for states to not curb Medicaid enrollment. Indiana's rolls ballooned to a high of nearly 2.3 million in April 2023 compared to 1.6 million in April of 2020. In April, the state agency started a review process of all enrollees. Since that time, roughly 371,000 individuals were disenrolled, though 20 to 25% of those who lost coverage were re-enrolled within 90 days after submitting additional information. Kate Sharon, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Sports Tech HQ, an initiative launched by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation in 2022, has secured $4.5 million from the IEDC to fund its operations for the next 2 years. That amount is double the initial investment 2 years ago, and the funding comes from the state's 21st Century Research and Technology Fund. The goal of Sports Tech HQ is to build Indiana's sports technology sector in part by luring startups here and helping them connect with the state's existing sports ecosystem. To date, Sports Tech HQ's efforts have resulted in several startups announcing their intent to set up shop in Indiana. They include Chicago-based Ganance, which offers a health tracker that attaches to the back of a wristwatch, Cambridge, Massachusetts-based DaVinci Wearables, which is developing sensor-embedded smart clothing for female athletes, and Ireland-based WeStream, which offers a customizable streaming platform for sports organizations. Indiana Secretary of Commerce David Rosenberg is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.